Hello, it's Sonia here with the Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today is Wednesday, and that means it's the stitch of the week. So for today's stitch, I am going to be using my H hook or 5mm hook. You can certainly use whatever hook size you have. The stitch that we're doing today will work with a variety of hook sizes and yarn types. So the yarn that I'll be using is just worsted weight yarn or number 4, but you can certainly use whatever you have on hand. I just suggest using a yarn that's not fuzzy or furry because the stitch won't really show up if you use that type of yarn. So to get started with this stitch, it's going to be a variation of single crochet, and if anyone has watched my channel for a while, you'll know that just a regular single crochet is not my favorite stitch. It's probably my least favorite stitch. But I like to try to jazz it up a little bit, I guess. And not to say that I never use single crochet, because I certainly do, and it definitely has its place. I just don't enjoy it compared to other stitches as much. But it's still a perfectly fine stitch. So this stitch is going to be a crossed single crochet stitch. It's very simple. So if you only know how to do the single crochet, you can do this stitch. So to do this stitch, you will need to chain an odd number. So I am going to chain 11. All right, so we have our 11 chains here. So we're going to get started with row 1. So what you're going to do is we are going to work in the third chain from our hook. So here's the first chain, the second chain, here is the third one. And you can work in your chain however you want to, and we are just going to work a single crochet in the third chain from our hook. So we have created our first single crochet. So what you want to do now, and this might be a little bit tricky, but it shouldn't be too hard. Normally when you single crochet, you work in the second chain from the hook, but we worked in the third because we're going to go back and work into this one that we skipped. So it's the one right next to it. So you skip the first one always, and then you work in the second one, but we worked in the third, and so now we're going to go back and work in the second chain. So I'm just putting my hook in there and working a single crochet. So we have crossed those stitches over each other, and we are going to skip the next chain and work a single crochet in the next. And then we'll go back and work a single crochet in the chain that we skipped. And we're going to continue that all the way across for row 1. So I'm going to skip the next chain and single crochet into the next one. And then, whoops, keep your hook in there. And then you're just going to go back and single crochet in the chain that you skipped. And just keep doing that until you get to the end of your row. So at the end of my row 1, I will have a total of 10 stitches because I chained 11. So I'm at my last 2. I'm going to skip this guy and work in the last stitch, the last chain, and then go back and work in the chain that I skipped. Okay, so we have completed row 1 of our crossed single crochet stitch. So now we're going to get ready to work row 2. Row 2, and you're going to repeat row 2 for however long you want your swatch. You're going to chain 1, you're going to turn your work. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip this first stitch here, and if you're not sure exactly what the stitches are, you can turn it upside, or turn it upside down. Turn it so it's towards you. So you're looking at the very tops of these stitches here. So these are the tops of your stitches, and they look like little V's. So there's one leg of my V, there's the other, there's the center. So sometimes when you're working, especially if you're crossing stitches or working post stitches, it can be a little tricky just looking at it like this, seeing exactly where you need to work. So if you just turn it over there, you can see the tops real easily, and that might just be a little bit easier for you, just a little tip. So I'm going to skip this first guy. I'm going to single crochet in the next one, because I will always want to have a total of 10 stitches, and then I'm just going to go back and work in that first one I skipped. And I'm going to skip the next stitch and single crochet in the next. So you're always working a single crochet. You're just crossing them over each other. So this would be a really nice stitch if you want a project that's a little bit of a denser fabric. This would be a really good one. You know, something that's not quite so see-through. So I'm skipping the next one and working a single crochet in the next. So I like taking just a, you know, plain basic stitch and then kind of just recreating it a little bit, making it a little bit, you know, give it a little extra something. So I'm at my last two, skip the next one and work in the last stitch there, but we still need to go back and work in the one we skipped because we want to have a total of 10 stitches. And there we go, we have repeated row 2. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and then you're going to repeat row 2 for however long you want your swatch. So you would skip this first stitch here and single crochet in the next, and then go back and single crochet in the one we skipped. So skip the next stitch, single crochet in the next one, and then go back in the one that we skipped. So I'm going to keep going. I'll just work a few more rows of my swatch. So again, you want to repeat row 2 for however many rows you would like. So I will just do a couple more rows so you can get a better picture of what it looks like in a larger swatch, and I will meet you back. Okay, so I have finished up my little swatch here. I've worked 8 rows, and the nice thing with this stitch is it is reversible. So each side is equally as nice, and you could just make this in one color or different, you know, have different rows of colors. You know, you could have a lot of fun with this stitch. You know, just using a very basic stitch and just kind of recreating it a little bit, adding a little bit of interest to it so it's not so boring. Like when I see this, I like it a whole lot better than just a regular single crochet stitch. So I hope you enjoyed this stitch of the week, and I thank you so much for watching.